everyone, my name is Mario Luna, and this is another episode of Consciousness and Evolution, brought to you by Reputation International, a consciential-centric institution focused on re-education. You can find more videos from Reputation on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching for Reputation International. If you enjoyed this talk, of course, give us your like and subscribe to our channel. Today, we are going to talk about consciential openness, a very interesting topic that will certainly raise some questions, such as, have you ever questioned your own beliefs? Can you look at reality beyond materialistic perspectives? Our conversation today may answer these and other questions, right? So stay tuned. Our guests will invite you to explore ideas, beliefs, and experiences, and hopefully inspire you to ask even more questions during the talk. Our guest today is Cristina Arakaki. Cristina is a researcher in Cosmoethics and Paralaw. She has been a volunteer in Conscientiology since 1995 and an instructor since 1997. She has an academic background in law and postgraduate studies in international relations. Currently, she volunteers at Juriscons, International Association of Paralaw. Very welcome, Cristina.
Hello, Mario. Thank you for having me here, and hello for everybody who is watching us now. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
Very nice. Yeah, the conversation is very interesting because consciential openness is, when we say not an advanced topic, but a very interesting one that can go deep in the multidimensional way of looking at things. Let's put things this way. But I would like to start our conversation today, Cristina, by asking you, what prompted you to start studying this topic? What made you interested in this topic, please?
Mario, because consciential openness maybe it's one of the cornerstones of the consciential paradigm. And consciential paradigm is the paradigm that conscientiology, this new science, or this proposal of new science, is using in order to study the consciousness. That means what we are, not only this physical body, but our essence, our ego, our soul, whatever name people want to talk, but it's what we really are. So consciential openness could be the first, maybe, and sometimes the more important attribute that the consciousness could have in order to propel his or her own evolution. Because without consciential openness, how can we question our beliefs, and we can go beyond our bias, and we can be open to new experiences and also to new realities? And that has to be with paraphenomena, as you said, in a multidimensional perspective, right? So that's why I think consciential openness is one of the most important attributes that a consciousness, introphysical consciousness, could be proposed to enhance and to qualify. And also because consciential openness, also to be open to intake, to input, to new inputs, but it's also this willingness and this ability to expand the knowledge and to give, to create the knowledge, the experience, the more cosmoethical aspect that one's has. So it's a two-way route, you can say like that, as well as we intake new ideas and we deep our self-reflections about our own bias and our own, I don't know, struck points that prevent us to going on. It also allow us to give, to open, and to give the best that we have inside of us to others, to the humanity, to the para-humanity.
That's that. One misunderstanding that might happen when we think about consciential openness is the difference between consciential openness with being open-minded, right? I think it goes beyond being just open-minded, right? Open-minded person. Maybe it's a good feature, of the character for someone to start working out the consciential openness. What difference do you see in these two concepts, Cristina?
Well, we can say like that. Open-minded, it's a good thing to be open-minded, to have your mind open to new ideas and new experiences. But consciential openness as a conscientiological concept. I mean, we have framed this into the conscientiological theories and uh, the consciential paradigm. Okay.
Right.
But consciential openness also means have reflection, self-reflection, because you can be open-minded and you can just, be open to listen to new ideas or to experiment new ideas, but you could not reflect upon this, upon your own reality. Consciential openness also deals with self-criticism, to questions and in a very cosmoethical way, but to have self-criticism, understand that, to question more about why you do these things, why you do not, why do you have this belief or this conviction, why not, okay? And also, consciential openness has to do with self-discernment and cosmoethics, because you can be open to a lot of new experience, for instance. But when you put cosmoethics and when you put self-discernment, we are dealing with new experiences that could propel the consciousness to evolve, to evolution, to be the better version of yourself, not only to experiment new things. Okay, so for instance, I don't know. We know that alcoholic beverages is not good thing for, okay, the health. So okay, I'm going to now be open-minded and experiment all kind of spirits. What's the meaning of this? Okay,
Yes.
you already know that's not so good, or it's really bad for one's health. There's no meaning for you to be open-minded to that, you know. On the other hand, being open consciousness, or with this consciential openness, you can understand more people who are, for instance, addicted to alcohol.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can be more empathetic. Yes,
Yes, empathetic, sympathetic. Oh,
empathetic and empathetic. Okay, you,
yes.
because consciential openness has to do with this empathy, because as you are more open to listening to others, you are more open to listening to other views, different from your views, okay? And then you could have more, you could be more, you have like, be more receptive to different people, to different points of view. So, consensual openness, I think it's a more broad concept, and it also linked a lot of other attributes, and can also have this kind of linked with other conscientiological concepts, but always looking after evolution. And when we said evolution, we are saying cosmoethics and also intersistence.
Very good. And we just dawned on me now to think that it's directly connected to your level of cosmoethics. I would just put the explanation or definition of cosmoethics here on the screen for people who might not have heard of this concept. Why it just came out, because when you said consensual openness, so you are more sympathetic about the other, more empathic about the other, so you have a better understanding of someone else's reality. And it involves also cosmoethics, right, Christina? I'd like to have this parallel between consensual openness and cosmoethics, please.
Yeah, Yeah, it also involves cosmoethics because, as I said, you are more open to others' opinion, okay, without this prior judgment, without a priorism, okay. You are more willing to listen to them and see different ideas. But one point that we have to stress here, Mario, is that cosmoethics has to do with self-uncorruptibility. Okay,
Right.
so people to be very authentic and to do what she or he really thinks is right to do. Yes, and be very like faith to like not faith to loyal to their principles and values, right? So there is a limit that cosmoethics like put into consciential openness, that is to not to be complicity, to have complexity
Uh,
with others anti-cosmoethical acts. You
sure.
see? So that's why consciential openness is not only, ah, okay, that's right. I accept. It's not accepting everything. You can listen to, okay, different views, but you have to position on yourself and said, okay, that's my limit. I cannot go beyond this due to my
Mhm.
anti-corruptibility way of living, and I think this is wrong. I could not accept this. Yes. I could not judge, okay, but I could have my positioning about it. Okay.
Mhm.
So I don't know, violence. We are in an area of violence. Yeah, all
Yes.
kinds of violence is, of course, this is unethical. But you see, sometimes people could justify some kind of violence. Yeah, but it is completely anti-ethical and anti-cosmoethical as well.
Sure.
For instance, let's say about cosmoethics. Yes, sometimes when people yeah, we can talk about interassistance, for instance. So
Right.
we have to respect the limits, so you have to respect the edge of wants to be assisted. Yeah.
Sure.
And sometimes you just have to, uh, be a step back, take a step back. Yeah. And do not insist. Yes, not unless your intention is a very good one, but that's why self-discernment comes in, and that's why consciential openness also means to be more wise about what are the other limits.
Definitely. We were talking about being empathic, being sympathetic about someone else's reality, and it involves a lot having us less in focus and put the others more in focus, right? Especially in assistance. And then comes in something that is very important to pay special attention, which is our ego. Then my question is, well, actually, ego is not a problem. I think that the big ego would be a problem, right? But everyone has ego, right? It's common to have ego, so it's not a problem at all. But the big ego. So my question is, Christina, does the big ego, people's big ego, get in the way of consciential openness, and how it gets in the way?
Yeah, I guess so, Mario. Big ego is a problem for evolution as a whole,
Yes,
isn't
definitely.
it? Yeah, because sometimes, or a lot of, most of the time, big ego, it hidden like some defense mechanisms. Yes, and it's a way to protect personal bias and also to block the perception of new ideas and new experiences. Yeah. So yeah, definitely big ego. It's a it hinders. We can say that consensual openness. That's why consensual openness is so important for evolution,
Yeah.
because according to conscientiology, one way that we could enhance and qualify our own evolution is to get rid of our big ego. Yes,
Definitely,
to
yes.
get rid of this egoic
Egoic, yes. Egoic.
egoic manifestation. Yeah, as I
Yes,
said, the ego is not the problem. The problem is when it becomes big, it's become huge, yeah, and
yes.
we pretend our belly button, yes, is the
Yes.
center of the
Yeah, we
universe.
just look at our belly button, yes. I don't think that we have this expression in English, but it's quite
Yeah,
interesting to say that. Yeah, well, too much worried about yourself, right?
yeah,
It's not going to. Yeah, as we are talking about big ego, there is another thing that comes from this, another question, which is, uh, some people are hard-headed. Hard-headed is like it's difficult for me to change the way I think because I'm stubborn or hard-headed. Um, Concerning this, right? How strong can be people's belief, and actually, why? The question is actually, why is it so hard for people to question their own beliefs?
hmm,
To start questioning, well,
yeah,
I believe in this, but does it make sense? And that's very interesting. Just a very introduction to what the point I wanted to talk about is I was in the therapy session the other day, and I was having some thoughts on me like, oh, I do this, I do that, and then the therapist said, what evidence do you have that you are correct, that you are on the right track thinking about yourself? What evidence do you have? So it's more or less what goes with lots of our beliefs, right? We have just acquired this belief, but we don't know actually where we have acquired them from, and we don't even question them. So
yes,
I'd like you to talk about this a bit, Cristina.
yeah. It's a very good topic, though, Mario. First of all, I think that sometimes we do not know our beliefs. We just
Yeah,
believe,
having
yeah.
a question.
But
Think thought about it, right?
yeah, and I think that the one very good action to starting knowing more, well, self knowledge. Let's go a little bit back. Self knowledge. It's one of the also one of the milestones of conscientiology. Okay, why? How do we evolve by knowing more ourselves, our what we really are. So, self knowledge is the basis of evolution according to conscientiology. So, this is why sometimes people do not stop and look to his or oneself deeply inside his micro universe, his thoughts, his feelings, his or her thoughts, his or her feelings, okay, and reflect. So, the first action will be self reflection.
Mhm.
Yeah. And with, of course, self reflection, you have to write down your ideas, reflect upon them. You can have like a journaling and reflect and, write down about what you think during a day, what are your actions. And then you can have a look at this and analyze and reflect upon them. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that this is one why it's so difficult because people do not stop and do
Mhm.
not have curiosity. Also, curiosity, like cosmoethical curiosity, and it's also like a very good item for consciential openness. You see, to have
Sure.
this to be curiosity, to be curious about not only what's outside you, but also what's inside you. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
So another thing is that people are not aware about how this holocene
Mhm.
or of the prevailing holocene of your environment, and we can say your home, your city, your neighbor, or in your work uh, environment, wherever, is maybe influence, give some influence upon you. And then you have this what you call cultural brainwashing. Yes.
Yes.
Because a lot of inputs, a lot of information is constantly being, like here, yeah. And we do incorporate this kind of values of beliefs without questioning. So this is another thing, to be more aware about what are the prevailing holocene, or what are the prevailing set of ideas, values, principles that are around you. And if you agree with them, and what kind of reflection you can do upon them, and what kind of criticism, yeah, you do
Yeah.
not have to agree with all of them. Yes, you can, with your self criticism, with your criticism, you can disagree, yeah, and think about. And another thing is that, because when you start to question your own beliefs, you naturally will have to change.
Yes.
Because and sometimes going out what you call this comfort zone, yes, it's not so pleasant. Yes,
Yes.
because it's more comfort, it's more pleasant, and it's more, I don't know, it's more cozy to be with our own set of beliefs, our own way of being, yeah, without questioning anything. Okay, it's working this way, why I'm going to change? Yeah,
Sure. Yes.
maybe it's working, but have you thought about being different? It could be much better than what we are now. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's are some ideas. I don't know if I do answer your questions. I don't know if you have any other.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, you were clear. What I would like to add to this question is, in practical terms, if there are some signs, right, that we may, um, notice that a person is stuck in their own beliefs. Is
uh,
there any signs that say, I think that this belief is outdated?
Outdated. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you can have insight sides. I don't know. I think that we have some kind of return sound. I'm listening to my own voice. Is that okay?
Ayla,
Yes?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah? No, it's okay. Okay, let's go on. Okay. Yeah, I think that we could have like inside signs. Um, I guess like some kind of introphysical, what you call introphysical melancholy, meline. Because meline is when we are stuck in our evolution. Meline is a sign when yes, thank you. It's when everything it's like warm, and when sometimes you see the world in a by like through gray shades, yeah,
Yes.
and you do not know what's going on. Means a sign of being stuck in evolution or in our existential program. That's quite a sign. Yeah.
I see.
So feeling comfortable with yourself. Yeah. And what else? Well, another thing. Well, we can have to talk about paraphenomena next, because what I'm going to do to say now has to do with paraphenomena, because we do not have entry to this wide range of
Yes.
subjects like
Yes. So,
paraphenomena. But another sign is that when your interpersonal relations start to be more conflictive. Yes.
mhm.
So either your inside or inner conflict, as well as interpersonal conflicts, may be a sign that you are like stuck in your own beliefs or in your own convictions in a anachronistic way, anachronistic, yeah, outdated, yes, way. And of course, as we said about interrelations and communication, when you communication, that's that's the topic that I'm going to link with power phenomena, but your communication is not so good, and relation has to do with communication. Yes, or
Sure.
communication, physical communication, whatever. But your communication, you cannot. People do not understand well what you're like to express, and
Yeah.
you do not understand what people are saying or expressing. Yeah.
Mhm.
And also relating to paraphenomena, it's when you stop sensing the multidimensionality, when you diminish your communication with extra physical realities or multidimensional realities. That means that you're stuck in your own ideas,
I see. Yeah.
because you'd be like closed, you'd be like really closed. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm starting thinking French right now, fermé, but
I think
to,
plus is definitely the same
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
in your own beliefs and patterns of actions, you do not change.
Yeah.
Yes, and nothing new happens, and you really start to be melancholic and sad, and the world itself becomes more, I don't know, uh,
Dull,
difficult.
dull,
Yeah, more
dull.
dull.
Something
Yes,
not
more dull.
consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
life is not meaningful as it used to be. I think
yeah,
it comes to a kind of exhaustion of the you don't have the response that you were expecting from life. So it's the things doesn't work. We have a question coming from your audience, which is Indian's question. Very nice, Indian. Thank you for your participation. How can we overcome our deepest outdated beliefs and family conditioning? What that building would that mean building a new persona? Good question.
yeah. Very good one. Well, first of all, we have to be aware of these beliefs and family conditioning. Yes. And maybe one technique is you pretend you are like an extraterrestrial and you have just arrived in Earth, and you are like observing your family or your environment you are living in with this, blank mind, and take note about all kind of behaviors and take note of uh, conditioning that you could observe. Yeah, maybe this could be a technique. Yeah, to be like pretend you are new, since you could not have a distance, no? A physical distance, but let's pretend you are within your family, your home, and then you'd like to know more about these beliefs of your family, and then you just observe in a very maybe taking a distance and having no judgment at all in the first hand. Mario, I do have an experience like that. I'd like to share with you and with all of those who are with us right now. I do have a chance to be in the same house with my mother and my grandmother for a week. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I starting observing all their complainings, and then I start to notice that what my grandmother complains about is quite the same what my mother complains about. And that I was terrifying because I felt like this, my goodness, I'm going to be like them. What do I have to do in order not to be like them? Because one is complaining about each other, but they're complaining about the same things. And they couldn't see this.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting
Yeah.
experiment. And then during this whole week, that's what I did. I started to take notes about all this way of behaviors, all of this way of acting,
Yeah.
all their sayings, because sometimes they say the same thing, but no slightly difference, okay, but with the same context. And then I said, my goodness, I am the next one in this, genetic line. I will be the next one. So,
Yes,
so what I have to do right now in order not to be like them when I get older.
exactly. It's like inheriting some behavior from your parents. It's a kind of inheritance because you don't know exactly why you think like this. I just dawned on me something I had read in this book, which is in Portuguese, but the book is The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And basically, what this guy says is that most of people have a kind of behavior towards money, and they don't know how to manage their money because possibly the way they manage their money was taught by the parents. And
Yeah,
if you had a bad upbringing, for example, concerning money, you will possibly have problems with this, right?
yeah,
So it's very interesting how sometimes, and then we are talking now about you just said some minutes ago that we don't know what is a belief. Sometimes we just take it in as something that is mine, but it's not. So why
no.
do I think? Do you know the story of the fish? There is a recipe from. Do you know the story of the fish? That's
Well,
very interesting.
to cut the head and tail of
Exactly.
the
And I think,
fish.
why do
Yes,
you cut the head or tail? I say, I don't know. It was a recipe from my grandmother. And
yeah,
say, yeah, but why did your grandmother cut the heads and tails of the fish? Because she doesn't have a very big oven.
yeah.
So, and that's the reason why I'm cutting the head and tails just for that. But it tells a lot, Christina, what you said really about how can we know this? How can we just realize that we are in something that we don't agree with, but we're just repeating the way my parents or grandparents thought.
Yeah, that's it. Well, again, we have to cultivate this habit of self-reflection. And nowadays, it's sometimes very difficult to do this because we are in a rat racer movement all the time. Yes. And self-reflection is very, very important. Without self-reflection, without stopping and daily and reflect upon our thoughts, our feelings, because sometimes we do not thinking, we are being thought. That's why consciential openness has to do with this extra physical para perception, yeah, with this multidimensional para perception. This is very important. We cannot talk about consciential openness within the consciential paradigm without talking about paraphenomena. Yeah.
Sure.
And consciential openness is the gateway to be more aware of your communications between dimensions, your paraphenomena. It's also a gateway to be more in contact with extra-physical consciousness, being then the helpers, the ones who want to help us, yes, but being then also the assisted one, the one people who need assistance, yes.
Sure.
So, and if you do not have this bias, this prejudice, this a priorism, of course you can assist more. Yes, not
Yeah.
only extra-physical dimension, but extra-physically speaking as well. So we can say about Penta practitioners, consciential openness. It's a very important pillar of Penta
Mhm.
because without this, how can we interact more with the helpers and how can we interact more with a broad and diverse team or a diverse group of assistants to do the assistance to, yes, to give the
Yeah.
assistance to. So, but first of all, we have to stop and look into ourselves and reflect and be honest. That's why cosmoethics, self-incorruptibility is so important. Okay. But also, not only to recognize our flaws, not only to recognize our weak traits, but also be open to recognize our mature traits. What do you have
Mhm.
already in a mature state of strong traits and put them into practice. Yeah. So consciential openness is deeply rooted to this authentic manifestation of the consciousness, not only the introphysical consciousness, but the consciousness as it is, the essence. And well, we can take into considerations
Mhm.
that we did an intermissive course. So in this intermissive course, we can, well, the theory said that we can intake some very open and universalistic ideas. Yes. So being open to this and be open to positioning yourself according to these innate ideas, these intermissive ideas. This is very important as well, because otherwise we are going to be drowned by this pathological holocene that prevails in in our
Sure.
planet nowadays.
That's. I swear I didn't see the who is question. Thank you for your participation. I hadn't seen this question before, and we make the comments, which is, are your beliefs truly yours or just inherited and never questions? Remember that we were talking about it some minutes ago. So
Yeah,
this is the real question about it. Was very there is a something of a synchronicity here
yeah,
because he came up with this
yeah.
question.
Yeah, thank you, Hui, for your questioning, because you could have like self-inherited beliefs, from past lives, and that's why consciential openness is so important, because you have to update yourself, because in our past lives, sometimes some kind of beliefs or some kind of behaviors were very useful for our evolution in that time, in that context, the context in the past, But now we have a different and a new environment. We have new opportunities. We have sometimes, well, of course, we do have a new body, physical body, yeah. But we are in a different environment, and that's why we have to update our own convictions, because these self-inherited habits that sometimes we inherit from our past lives maybe could stuck ourselves as well in
Mhm.
evolution, you see, because at that time it was useful, it was important, they were important, but sometimes nowadays they're not anymore, so we have to recycle them.
Definitely. You said something about parapsychism, and then I would add this question to our conversation. This not this question, this topic to our conversation. So, how does consciential openness relate to parapsychic experiences?
Well, it's deeply related to parapsychic experience,
Yes.
yes, because to experience this parapsychic experience, of all, you have to be open to the possibility of it, that your existence are not, only in this dimension with your five sense. Okay, so we do have more channels of interact with a reality that's not this physical reality here. That's what we call the multidimensionality. Yes. So, and this consciential openness is it's important. It's a prerequisite for lucid parapsychos. So it allows the consciousness to access this multidimensionality reality. For instance, by lucid projectability out of body experiences. And according to consciential paradigm, we do approach this parapsychism, this lucid parapsychism, without mystical or religious biases. Biases? Yes,
Right.
biases.
Yes.
Biases. Yes, yeah. This is very important, because one thing that prevents us to be open as a consciousness is these dogmas. Dogmas, we say that. Yes, dogmas.
Dogmas.
Yeah. And dogmas comes from religions mostly, but also from science or from any kind of set of knowledge that do not allows you to disagree and to confront the pillars of their theories. Okay, so when you're talking about lucid parapsychism, you're talking about this approach with multidimensionality, with self-criticism, and also with self-discernment, and also with cosmoethics, of course. Yeah. So when you have like rigid conditions, rigid bias, it will always prevent you from have like large or broader perceptions. Okay, and also the interpretation of your perception, because sometimes people, for instance, could well, we have very good examples in history. You can name it here, Emmanuel Swedenborg, for instance, was one of the wisest men in the Europe, or the, I don't know, the Western world at his time.
Mhm.
And we have this hypothesis that consciousness that we know as Afro appeared to him. Well, he talked about this in his books, right? And tell some things about evolution. And then he believed back then that it was God, or it was Jesus, due to this religious framework.
Yes.
So when you do not have this flexibility in your interpretation, your your perception could also be poisoning by your own bias, you
Yes.
see. And then the content of the paraphenomena, that's the most important thing that that we think it is in
Mhm.
according to conscientiology, not the phenomena itself, but the content of the phenomena, what they mean to us at that moment in that context. Okay, so this the content of the phenomena could be poisoning by your own bias and your own convictions, and also to subtle um, religions, backgrounds, or
Yeah.
religions,
Yes.
hetero moral codes, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about actually you mentioned the comfort zone, right? So how hard it is to leave your comfort zone. And now you're talking about when you have a very strong belief, especially when you have this materialistic belief that blocks the development of parapsychism. How much is it due to a strong fear of what is unknown for most of people? Because this is a very interesting thing to mention here is how people are afraid of the parapsychic abilities, because some of them may have experienced parapsychic abilities now and then, right? But they are still afraid of them, right? So it's kind of blockage to this consensual openness coming from the parapsychic development, right?
Yeah, but the question again was.
The question again is how a fear affect this blockage that people have towards the parapsychic
Yeah,
development.
yeah, it affects a lot. I think that fear is the one of the most dreadful blockage of evolution.
Yes,
Yeah.
in all senses, right?
Sorry?
In all senses.
In all senses. In
Even
all.
when you are trying to open a new business and you are afraid of what might happen and say, no, no, I'm not going to. If you don't try, nothing will happen, right?
Yeah. And well, it interferes a lot with parapsychism because, well, we can start with saying that maybe one of the most and the greatest fear from humanity during all the history is the fear of death. Yes, xenophobia.
Yes.
And well,
Thanatophobia?
thanatophobia. Yes,
Thanatophobia.
thanatophobia. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And Well, this, I think that also leads to a lot of other fears regarding parapsychism. Yeah. So how can you solve this, Mario? Well, having experiences. Yes. So maybe you have to start experiencing that your manifestation could go beyond your physical body. For instance, you can start with doing some very simple exercise with energies, because if you can sense energy, with, that's not the sense of your five, human and physical senses. Maybe you can starting I don't know. You can start to construct some
Hmm.
kind of way to go beyond further experiences. Okay, so you can do this interpalmar energy workout, and you can see if you can feel something different. And also Conscientiology gives us a lot of techniques like vibrational state to start working with your energies and see if you can feel a lot of things. And we can have to talk about lucid projection of consciousness out of our experiences, because once you have these lucid experiences and you could overcome the fear of going out and see your body and see yourself outside your physical body, even though it's for an instant, it's a glimpse of this kind of experience. Since it's you're lucid to it, this will, I don't know, I think that this could help ones to overcome the fear of paraphenomena. But on the other side, we have to questioning and also we have to study more about this. I think that knowledge, self-education, self-re-education, it's a very good tool for us to overcome our fear. Okay, along with, of course, the experience and this willingness to do something different. We
Sure.
have to start by some point, yeah, and to think, okay, what moved us from going ahead? What kind of values? What kind of, I don't know, goals? What kind of subjects we are interested into? But anyway, it's only by experiences. That's why the consciential paradigm, the self knowledge, is based on self experiment. And
Yeah.
we have to talk here, Mario. I think we are almost in the end of this conversation, but we have to talk here about the principle of disbelief. That's
Yeah.
one of the basic principles of conscientiology. That means have your own experiences. By have your own experiences and
Yeah.
reflect, well, the and reflect upon your experiences, you can make up your own convictions. Okay, do not believe in what I'm saying here and what you are saying here and what whoever says. Okay, it's good for everybody to, okay, be open to the view, but also to have this criticism, reflect upon, and see if at that in that context, in this moment of life, this information could have some kind of make sense to you. Okay, if
Yeah.
not, okay, you could just discard it.
That's fine. And it's very important also to mention that the consciential openness is directly connected to the multidimensional self-awareness. As you were saying, right? As we are consciousness, right? Consciousness is me, you, each one of the human being on this planet. So we manifest ourselves multidimensionally. So whether you are aware of it or unaware of it, this is what happens. So as you said, with experience, after experiencing our manifestation in other dimensions than the extra-physical one, maybe it can be a good lesson to show
Yeah.
people, yeah, to make them use it to this reality, right? I have a question, and Yoni sent me a question privately to ask you. So I would like just to read her question here. How can we tell the difference between true consciential openness and simply adopting new beliefs without critical thinking?
I think that this, she has already answered it. Critical thinking is the key for that, you know,
Yes.
because, well, consciential openness moves us towards another pattern of manifestation, a more cosmoethical pattern, a more lucid one, a more intersistent, assistential one. Okay, so when you and again, you have more self discernment, you have more discernment, you have more lucidity, you are more aware of the reality around you. Yeah, so that implies, of course, this uh, multidimensionality. It implies your holosoma. Okay, when you are in this consciential openness mode, you are more willingness to be in the flow of the cosmos. I would say that you can understand more this movement of the evolution, not only your life or your group or your family or what your, but the whole cosmos. It this could be could appear transcendent or very theoretical, but it's not. I mean, you have a sense of belonging, you know,
Mm, sure.
and this sense of belonging um, could be a way of being not do not sense this emptiness that sometimes people
I think that you froze. We lost you.
okay. I was out for a moment.
Yes, you were kind of frozen, yeah, but you are back now. You are back.
Okay, okay. So I think that that's it, that the sense of belonging, consensual openness could give us this sense of belonging to something bigger than us, something bigger than this physical environment that we're so used to. So the sense of belonging could feel this emptiness that sometimes people feel. Yes.
Sure.
And saying that life, despite the challenges of life,
Yeah.
becomes more, I would say that, more funny, more, more challenging, but
Sounds interesting. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Yes, interested. Yes, it
Very
becomes
good.
more motivating because life stuff, though, Mario, life, introphysical life's not so easy. Yeah, you
Oh
have,
yeah.
yeah, you have bills to pay. We have bellyache. We have, our neighbor that sometimes annoying us.
Yeah, and the big challenge is this level of understanding, right?
Yeah,
Because the more we understand it also, the better we feel, right? Otherwise, we'll have conflict with someone else's conflict.
yeah,
Sometimes we are fine, then we go to YouTube and watch a video about a problem, a fight about something, a dog that has been tortured or things like this, and you get like totally contaminated. So if you don't have this mind, like prepare it to understand the world we live in, so we are get constantly contaminated by someone else's, energy or the energies of a situation of the context of war, right?
yeah.
So it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge to understand. But I would actually we are approaching our time here. But there is one question I'd like to ask you, Christina, in practical terms, right? What practical steps can someone take to start developing a consciential openness in everyday life? What would you say?
Well, there are a lot of possibilities. As I said, we said before, to begin with, set a time for self-reflection and to know more about yourselves. Okay. Another thing is that starting to read, listen, and see things that are different from your own point of views. Okay. So, and try to receive what kind of reaction these different point of views, this different approach from your own convictions
Mhm.
cause to you. Yeah. And of course, you could have your positioning, you could have your you could have an opinion about that. But what does emotionally, mainly, what emotionally do you, how emotionally do you react to these different point of views, to these different approaches, to what's different to you? Okay.
I see.
And then try to have an opinion about that, but do not be against it. Okay. Or I mean, do not emotionally react with anger or with fear or with violence, whatever. Another
Yeah.
thing, try to do something different, maybe every day. Yes, sometimes you can choose to go to work from a different, you know, uh, path. Okay, and try to have a list of things you want to learn that would be challenging to you. Okay, and then you can start learning this. It could be like, I don't know, a new language or some kind of skills. Yeah, these will challenge you to develop new abilities that you do not have. Okay, try
Yeah.
to talk to people that think differently from you. Talk, and then you can have a chance to listen to him or her. Yes, without just press a button and go to the next one. Yeah,
Yes.
and without accelerating. Yeah, like
Yes.
putting a point one to 2.0, yeah, mode of audio.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
but you
right.
have to patiently listen to other people manually. So try to do this. I did this exercise this week. I was listening to a podcast, and the interviewer was the one who did the interview, yes, is
Mhm. Yeah.
talking to a theologist and a historical theologist who do strongly believe that we do not evolve from the simians, okay, that Jesus is real, and that, well, we are created like God and Jesus. And he has very such good arguments, Mario. He did his point. He made it his point in a
Yeah.
very good, based on very good arguments. And then I was starting listen to this, and my first reaction, oh my God, how come? How could like a scholar be like this? How
Yeah.
could someone spend his time arguing something like that? And then I listened to me, okay. I do not think like him, but I'm going to listen to him up to the end. And I did. Okay, it was an hour and it was okay.
Mhm.
I learned something. That's another thing from consciential
Yes.
openness. Okay, to learn things or ideas that you haven't thought about or you didn't know. Yeah,
Mhm.
but then I said, okay, it's a great point of view. Congratulations to him. He has very good points, but for me, in my opinion, it's complete. And doing according to my experience, it's completely out of question that
Yes.
we are created by God, as
Yeah.
His my God, whatever. But anyway, so this is a very good step to see how these different approaches interfere in your emotions. Yeah,
Exactly. In one. Yeah.
yeah. And just to finish, as we talked about emotions, consciential openness, it's a very good tool to the intrusion free state, you know, the permanent desperto, the permanent intrusion-free state, because yeah, this plasticity, yes, because you can like live surrounded by different ideas, yes, without burden emotionally, and you do not send like pathological things about this,
Yeah.
yes, and you held yourself in a very tranquil and serene state, yeah. So that's why also consciential openness could propel our evolution, because we can, you know, go step by step in this moment of urbanization, extra-physical urbanization. That's very challenging, but
Yes.
without being so unstable with what's different and what's, you know, it's so different from what you think.
Yes, definitely. No doubt it's a very good exercise to listen to people who have different opinions from yours, and you just listen to them to know how they build their thoughts, their arguments, right?
Yes,
It's also very important. Last week I was giving a class to one of my students, and we were politically in totally opposite positions, right? But I told him, say, listen, I really like to hear you because I want to understand your how do you see society, you know,
yes,
the society needs from your perspective. What is it? How do you think? Because it's completely different from the way I think, but I want to understand your thoughts, your reasoning to
yes,
and I told him, so listen, I respect what you think. That's no, I love you anyway, right? But that we have different opinions, and I think this is a very good exercise because we are more sympathetic. We have been repeating this word in our conversation since the beginning, right? To be
yes,
sympathetic, to be empathic to people. This is very, very important. I have an advertisement to do here now, which is concerning our intermissivist meet in North America this year from May 8 to 10 in Kensaw, Georgia, right? Connecting intermissivists beyond borders. This is a very good moment, right? Because it's I think it's in recent times. I think it's the first event in North America because we had the SIPO in 2002 in New York, but we don't have many events in America. This one is the one who's happening in May now. It's a unique opportunity, right, to strengthen connections and expand interassistance among intermissivists and consciousness researchers. It's the ticket is 150 per person and includes full access to the event program, coffee breaks, and so on. Meals and lodging are not included, right? Meals and lodging are not included. Um, that's right. Here I have also the program. It starts on Friday, May 8th. But the letter is not so big, but we have presentations of work, like we have workshops, researcher seminars, and mini courses, talk show. That will be 3 days of presentations and participations in Kensaw, Georgia. So if you are interested, please send email to eliane.voislaw@representation.org or adriana.piris@representation.org. Okay, that will be a very good event in America this year. Christina, your final words. Could you wrap up your talk, please?
well, I'd like to thank you for hosting this show, this very nice conversation. I'd like to thank all the people who were with us during this conversation as well. And I think that mainly in this time of polarization that we live in today, consciential openness it's a key factor for being more peaceful consciousness and to have less
Yeah.
conflict. I mean, inner conflict and or interrelational conflict. So be open to the new, be open to the new version of yourself, be open to the new possibilities of evolution, be optimistic, you know,
Sure.
because beyond all this, uh, there is something that really good. I have this very strong conviction that we can do better. We can do much better. And so I still believe and I still have this conviction. I'm very optimistic about a very good future. So be open to this, be open to these possibilities and experiment. Have your own experiment. Be courageous to go beyond your
Yeah.
go beyond your limits. Okay,
Your
that
limit, your go beyond your comfort zone.
yeah, your comfort
Yes.
zone. Go beyond your comfort zone. Mario, do we have like 2 more minutes?
Sure.
Because I'd like to show. I know it's going to be recorded, and I think that maybe somebody who do not know CAEC here in Foz do Iguaçu could see, and maybe it's a very good opportunity to show what we have here in Foz do Iguaçu and as a Cognopolis, and we are going to have a very good event in this July here in Foz do Iguaçu and CAEC that's called Cognopolis Experiences with a lot of activities. And I think it's a good thing to show. I don't know. It's going to be recorded. I think.
Yeah.
If yeah. Am I allowed to share this video, or I just can send you the link? Can show now, or am I allowed to share?
Yeah, I think that here at the StreamYard, we cannot have this sharing screen from the
Ah,
participants. But
yeah,
maybe if you have the link of the video,
yeah.
then you can just place in the comments.
Okay, I'm going to send you. Okay, this is a video that we can find at YouTube, but it shows CAEC. That is our campuses, the research campuses here
Okay.
in Foz do
Uh,
Iguaçu.
well, let me just check it out. Yes, it's on YouTube. So I
Yeah,
think that we can advertise this video in the
yes.
comments, right? We can just put the link in the comments. So
Mhm.
I just tell the participants to check out this video later, right? So
Okay.
that will be we will place the link of the video in the comments in the description
So
of the video, all right?
So this is invitation for those who want to know somewhere where different, okay, a place different where you have this. It's a research campus of Conscientiology here in Brazil, Foz do Iguaçu, Paraná, and Foz do Iguaçu is well known by the wonderful falls. Yes,
Yes, that's right.
so we can send an invitation for all of those who want um, to visit us here. Okay.
Visit us. Yes, very nice. When come to Fort Iguaçu, not only the falls but SEAC as well.
There's X as well, Cognopolis as well. It could
That,
be an experience of consciential openness.
yeah, that will be a good start for the Consciential Openness. For those who have never thought about it,
Yeah.
that will be a good start.
Yes.
Christina, thank you very much for accepting our invitation for your talk today. It's a pleasure to have you. Very clear talk, very didactic for those who are watching us for the first time. And that's that. Thank you very much. Thank you the participation of the audience with questions, right? With very interactive conversation. Very
Yeah.
nice. So that's that. Have a good day. I see you now. Important to say, I cannot leave this conversation without telling you that April 5th, we'll have Tatiana Mota. It's another researcher coming from Australia talking about intensive course.
Great.
That's good.
Yes.
I
That's
hope
good.
to see you there. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you all.